Alright everybody, welcome on back to the channel, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the PP919. This gun is an absolute beast here in Black Ops 6 Zombies. We're going to take this gun on into the tomb and not only take on the boss fight, but we're going to exfil at round 56 and see how it does. We also got some interesting news floating around in the Call of Duty community today that we're going to talk about, so if you guys are looking for a pretty OP loadout to rock here in Black Ops 6 Zombies for Season 2 Reloaded, we definitely got you guys covered. With all that out of the way, if you guys are into Zombies content, do me a huge favor, rock the hell out of that like button, subscribe to the channel. We're getting closer and closer to 27,000 subscribers, and I cannot thank you guys enough for all the support. It really does mean a lot to me. One of the coolest things about this weapon is that after you pack a punch it, you're going to be sitting on 340 rounds. Well, that is if you're using the extended mag. But that is just an insane amount of rounds that you can shoot off before you have to reload this thing. So even if it's not the absolute most powerful SMG in the game, it definitely makes up for it with just how long that you can shoot it. It's basically kind of like having a free stock option or free fire. And that goes for the fire rate as well. This thing may shoot a little bit slower, but just for how long that you can just hold down the trigger and just lay damage into zombies, it really does make up for it. The handling and mobility is really good as well, especially if you use the build that we got here. Not only is it built out for movement, but the recoil should be really easy to control as well. And one of the things that I absolutely do love about the tomb, and I think is a little bit underappreciated about the map, is that it really does just produce salvage for you constantly. You just can't run out of salvage as long as you're taking advantage of all the things. Like, not only can you be getting double salvage if you're using a suppressor, but we can also be getting salvage, guaranteed salvage, from every one of these fungus or mushrooms that pop up inside of the dark ether. There is a lot of these things that spawn in every single round in here, so you can just constantly come in here and keep gathering up salvage from these. So we got the ether crystals that spawn outside in the main areas of the map. Of course, you can get anything from those, but there still is a chance for some salvage. Plus, we can get the free legendary ether tool by freezing both of the waterfalls after round 21, which will save us a bunch of salvage right there. Not only is it already pretty easy to get to round 100 in this map just by using the ice staff and using your energy mine field upgrade, but with the sheer amount of salvage you get, you should be able to just spam mutant injections as well after a certain point. But I think this map definitely can have its difficult areas and its times just because it is a little bit more tighter quarters. I think it also at the same time gives players more choices and chances to get to higher rounds by using different strategies, and I think that's kind of cool. I think that's one of the things that a lot of the other maps are kind of lacking, is just that overall variety of getting to higher rounds. Usually it's just gather up a bunch of salvage, spam mutant injections, and you can granted do that on this map, but at least you have other options as well. As you guys can see right here, we are at the tomb boss and we're doing a steady 800 damage to the artifact. Now there is every once in a great while you'll see that 3,592 pop up. Overall, this damage isn't really too bad. It's not that great, but it's not too bad. You gotta keep in mind, we have 340 rounds in this thing, so we can just shoot this PP forever. You know, big pause on that. You guys are gonna see here, even coming up with a second phase with this artifact, we were able to take out both of the artifacts without having to reload and still had 200 rounds left over. I really do think that this loadout, this weapon, is definitely a prime example of something that can be, as it might not be as powerful, or it might not be the most powerful weapon that you can bring in, but its other attributes make it more than well worth it. And one of my examples to this would be like almost any of the other, let's say one of the LMGs in the game. They may do way more damage, but I can guarantee you they're going to be way heavier, and I'm not going to want to log those things around the arena. I am definitely more than willing to sacrifice a little bit of that damage so I can have the SMG qualities that the PP is rocking. Plus, with its pack-a-punch ability, this thing actually holds more rounds than most of the LMGs do anyways. I would definitely rather rock something like this. It's quicker, it's snappy, I feel like I can freely move around the boss arena. That's another thing I can actually really give to this weapon as well, is you can take it into any of the boss fights here in Black Ops 6 and it'll do well. There's a lot of weapons in this game where it's like, oh, this one's really good for this, or this one's really good for this one. But this SMG will actually take on any of them really well. Like Patient 13, if you want to take on the Guardian boss from Citadel, or you want to do the Tomb boss fight, this thing will handle any of them really good. Look at this, we're about to just melt through this amalgam right here. Get out of here, guy. It's absolutely no problem making sure we pass this DPS check on this artifact. I gotta say, I really do think that this weapon is kind of like a hidden gem here in Black Ops 6, because every time it gets mentioned, there's a lot of people that really do like it, and then there's a lot of people that are just kind of like a little bit naysayers on it. And I can kind of understand both sides just a little bit, because it may not be one of the absolute top best weapons of Black Ops 6, but it is a very good option. If I was to slap together another top 10 list sometime here soon, I would think this weapon might even make it somewhere onto that list. Which also does bring me to ask you guys, what have you been rocking here in Season 2 Reloaded? What's been some really good weapons that you guys have been rocking? Loadouts. If you guys have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comment section. I will be putting together another list sometime here soon. Anything you guys may want to see on a best weapons list, please go ahead and leave it down in the comment section. I did also want to talk about this because we did see some pretty important leaks coming out from the Ghost of Hope regarding not only Modern Warfare 4, but also possibly even the future of Warzone. It goes on to say exclusive details for Modern Warfare 4 in 2026, no old gen support, traditional UI like the older games, more traditional than BO6, engine being overhauled to address Modern Warfare 2 problems like visual clutter and etc. Being developed on dev kits for the next Xbox, no Warzone 3 if Verdansk fails to retain its current/returning players. I don't know about you guys, but I could be reading that in two different ways. Now that could mean to me that if this iteration of Verdansk that we're going to be seeing here on April 3rd, if that doesn't keep up with its returning players, if players don't stick and the numbers don't stay, they could be at some point in time sunsetting Warzone and canceling the project. There could also be a possibility where this means that there might not be any new Warzone and maybe they will just stick to this old Warzone and build upon it. That could also just be some wishful thinking. Now, where my immediate thoughts are going to go, and where I know a lot of other people's thoughts are probably going to go, is that if there is no Warzone, wouldn't that mean that there would be more dev time, more dev resources and everything being able to be put into multiplayer and zombies? While that was kind of my initial thought too, apparently the Ghost of Hope had something else to say. He goes to say, I've seen a lot of I hope Warzone fails tweets in the past day, which is fine, but I hope people know that if it fails and they don't put further resources into it, that doesn't mean that more devs will be put onto multiplayer and zombies. It means layoffs. Which to me, I'm kind of reading this as it doesn't really matter what happens to Warzone, whether it succeeds or it fails. If it fails, it's just another day at the office for these guys. Which tells me it honestly really doesn't matter what happens to Warzone. Activision, Microsoft is already putting all of their resources that they want to into multiplayer and zombies, and whatever happens with Warzone is not going to affect it at all. I might be kind of crazy for thinking this here, but I think if Warzone eventually does end up failing, if they do eventually actually decide to pull the plug on it, I have a feeling that they're going to try something else. Maybe it'll be something more like DMZ, maybe it'll be something with a little bit more of a different twist on it, maybe it won't have the Warzone branding on it whatsoever. But personally, I think Activision pulls in way too much from the free-to-play experience to just let that go. Who knows, maybe that's finally the time that we will actually see DMZ finally come out of its quote beta phase. We will finally see like a resurrection of Blackout at some point. I know that this is a very, very unpopular opinion, but I would love to see a jetpack VR. I honestly think it would just play so fun. If you guys ever played the, what was it? It was like a superhero mode in Blackout. It was so much fun to just jetpack around the map and beam people. I know that's kind of an unpopular opinion, but at least it would be something new. I mean, trust me, I'm very, very excited for Verdansk to come back, but I think the big problem with Warzone is that it's just getting stale because there is nothing actually that is new to get excited about. While Verdansk is kind of exciting to go back to, it's nostalgic and I am excited for it, it's just nothing new. Getting to a point, and actually have been to a point for a while now, where it is time for them to actually innovate and do something else. For me personally, I hope that Verdansk does good. I hope that Warzone does good. I hope that Warzone continues to succeed. More players on Call of Duty means that more players will eventually hear about zombies and more players will eventually come and check out zombies. For me personally, I only think that it is a positive for the Call of Duty scene. Let me know what you guys are thinking about it down in the comments section. The loadout for the PP919 is going to be up on the screen right here for anybody that wants to go ahead and check it out. I highly recommend you guys use this weapon here in Season 2 Reloaded. It is really good. With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if anybody is new. Let's hit this 27K, guys. Hope everybody has a great rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one.